In the infamous words of Bruce the Whipple, if you don't ask, you don't get.
I say that a lot. That was from this August seminar with Dan Pena. He has started the Castle seminars again. But absolutely, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I was asked a question by Shawn, different Shawn. Hello, Mr. Whipple. I have started listening to your podcasts that offer for our education and edification, and I'm offering an idea for a future podcast. Due diligence. Researching a deal is important to our success. Please touch on what we are looking for, exact metrics if time allows. Thank you for your consideration. Well, there aren't a lot of exact metrics. You absolutely want to buy a profitable business. And the number one metric after the deal is done and after you have figured out what the cash flow is from that business, not how you can improve it and how you can cut expenses to improve the cash flow, but the way it sits when you buy it, cash flow has to cover debt service. I get a lot of people that ask me, well, it's not making money, but it could. Well, that's a tough one to make work unless you're experienced, and even then it's tough. And turnaround projects are not what you want for your first deal. Okay. So the other thing that becomes clear to me the more I do mentoring is that mentees, for a whole variety of reasons, think that they have to do it alone, that they have to figure out how to do due diligence. They have to figure out how to do an analysis to get EBITDA, on and on and on. And what you find is the reason, starting at the very beginning, you put together a dream team was to augment the skills that you do not have. So when it comes to due diligence, absolutely ask the questions that are the hard questions, assume and caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. All of those things apply, particularly if you're buying an online business. But the people around you, the professionals, your dream team, presumably they have been through deals before. So for instance, with the accountants and lawyers, they will have a due diligence checklist. Things that you never thought of will be on that list. And you can certainly get that list from them. People on your board that have done deals, same thing. They've seen how people got bit in the past, and they can give you advice as to look for this, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll give you an example. I was involved in an acquisition, small acquisition. Wasn't really that important from a cash flow or revenue. And we ended up doing the acquisition. The first year after the acquisition, the sales were off about 30%. And we said, whoa, what's going on here? So we went back and looked at the revenues. There are actual invoices for the revenues, so that piece of it checked out. But when we looked at the line items for the invoices, what we found was that the repair business, which is what we were buying, these invoices weren't for that. These invoices were for various parts that the seller had said to his friends, acquaintances, strangers, whoever, why don't you buy this stuff through me? I'll sell it to you for its cost, and then I'll pass the product on to you. It was not his core business. It was never going to repeat. But was it a legitimate sale? I guess you could argue legitimate, but it was a sale that he recorded, not going to repeat, and obviously it didn't repeat for us as well. So looking at that detail, it's just an example of the level that you'll want to go to. And the bigger the deal is, or the first deal, you want to make sure that your first deal is one that's going to succeed. So spend the time to go through this. People can be incredibly creative in how they cook the books when you look at an acquisition. And particularly online, if you're buying an online business, you may be buying a business which has online sales, obviously. So you need to look at what type of sales those are. If you are buying a business that sells table saws, for instance, you're probably going to only have one table saw per customer, and they may not be any kind of a repeat business. If you're selling shampoo, the likelihood is they'll be back every month to buy it. So you have to look at what the customer base is, what's being sold, will it repeat, or is it a one and done kind of thing. The other thing to be careful of is with an online business, you're presumably buying an email list. So what prevents the seller from taking that email list and just doing the same business over again? And you'll probably say, well, I'll have a non-compete with him. I'll have a non-disclosure agreement, a confidentiality agreement, and you can have all of those things, and those may make sense to have. But again, don't underestimate how creative a crook can be. Is that oftentimes what that person will do is talk to his buddy and say, I've got a business that was successful. I'm not allowed to do anything with it, but you could do something with it, and I'll be the guy behind the curtain who ends up telling you what to do. I've got an email list, et cetera, and I'll be behind the curtain. So be careful, but those are the kind of things that your dream team and your professionals will have a good handle on, hopefully, if you've picked the right people. But absolutely, investigate before you invest. Dan has said that over and over again. And know the steps in QLA. If you don't know the steps, you can go to Dan's website. You can go to my website. I've put up a course which is free, which is brucewhipple.com/free class. It makes reference to a phone call with me. That phone call isn't part of the free class, but the steps are there. And if you want to go further than that and understand in more detail how to do this, what tools to use, I was asked to do a boot camp, which I did. The recordings are now available, and that's brucewhipple.com/deep dive boot camp. So those things can be very helpful. The most important thing, however, is investigate before you invest and follow the steps. An awful lot of people fast forward to a deal which usually ends in a bad outcome if they haven't built the dream team and gotten the professionals. But following the steps is really important. So I would encourage you to do that. Investigate before you invest, as Dan has said over and over. But the most important thing is to take action. A lot of people end up, I'm not ready. The timing isn't right. I'm going to wait until next year, et cetera, et cetera. We are in an extraordinary time with the COVID-19, and this will not last forever. So take advantage of it. Businesses are on sale. Dan's QLA methodology has never been in a better position, in my opinion, to work than it is now. So I look forward to hearing about your successes. Hope this was helpful. Shawn, thank you for that suggestion. But remember, use the team around you. Shawn, you don't have to know how to do all the due diligence. You just have to have people around you who know how to do the due diligence. And that's true in most of the things with respect to QLA. Use the team that you've spent time to build. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments or ideas for future episodes, please email bruce@brucewhipple.com. And if you're not already on our mailing list, head over to brucewhipple.com and sign up and grab any of the free reports. That'll put you on the mailing list. There is a lot of free information you can use to acquire already profitable businesses. This is Bruce Whipple. Thanks for listening to the Business Acquisition Podcast. And remember, you miss 100% of the opportunities you failed to take. And procrastination truly is the thief of time. So do something today, please. Your future self will be proud of you.